Hello and welcome to Make It Make Sense with Auntie. I am Auntie, and I want to thank you all for tuning in today. Before we get started, we want to do our couple of shout outs, especially to Smooth Transitions. Thank you so much for everything that you do to make the Make It Make Sense with Auntie show possible. Miss K will be with us shortly. Today we have an exciting show. We are going to be discussing empowered fathers, empowered children. So we will be discussing father's rights, self-love, and child development. So that is going to be our show today. Like I said, I wanted to thank everybody that continually tunes in with Auntie, that continues to help me with the show. I've been doing a lot working. If you see my shows, like if you go back and watch the videos, which I'm trying to do, like there's a lot of stuff that's going on with the videos. So we're working on that to try to get those edited out and things done so that the show is more smooth. There's a more smoother transition for everybody. There's a huge shout out to some of the groups in Facebook that help with the YouTube, with the whole YouTube process because Auntie needs it. I am out of whack with a whole lot of stuff when it comes to certain things with the figures. I'm still trying to figure out the videos. So if you're out there and you do like the TikToks or something and you want to help Auntie, you can go ahead and send me a message or contact BFAM and let us know so that I can get some TikToks done because that's what they're telling me that Auntie need to be doing. Um, like I said, Miss K will be here shortly. I'm gonna just kind of like jump in. So we are going to discuss fathers' rights and the self-love and the importance of self-love and fatherhood, and the advocacy because it does have an impact on children. And so, last week and pretty much all of the shows, we do have a lot of fathers that reach out. There's a lot of men that reach out about women and situations that they have. We have a lot of fathers out here that want to be um, the custodial parent, or maybe they don't have custody of the child, but they are dealing with issues where the mother of the child doesn't allow them to see the child, or for whatever reasons they're not financially able to provide for their children, and it has become an issue with the mother. So we are going to discuss that today. We are going to discuss and how it impacts our children. You know, how it does impact our children. So I do want to start by saying, how father's self-love and confidence affects the children's emotional development is, by cultivating the self-love and and confidence, um, fathers can have a profound impact on their children. So, if you have your child, if the father has the emotional support, then, he can be emotional supportive towards the child. So we do see a lot of women that say, I can do this by myself. And I understand it is a whole movement. I used to be a part of the movement. I'm not gonna lie, but um, I did learn that that process is not the right way because the child still doesn't need their father. Fathers need to be active in their children's lives when it is, nurturing to the child. And I'm not telling you to go let your psychotic baby daddy come and be in the child's life when you know what he does. If there is a justified reason for why he does not need to be in that child's life, and it's not because of something that's bitter or anger from you, like if it is something that may cause harm to this child, and that's emotionally, that's physically, then no, he should not be. Some it should be some other means of how this his interactions are with this child, because that is absolutely it should not be accepted. But by cultivating self-love and confidence, fathers can have a profound impact on their children emotional development, helping them grow into happy, well-adjusted, resilient um, resilience of citizens. And that is what we are all striving for. We all want productive citizens. We all want our children to grow up and be great. I'm pretty sure there's not one mother that wants to see their child locked up behind bars. There's not one child. Um, there's not one child, that wants to be away from their father again, unless it's a situation or circumstances that causes them to be separated, and that shouldn't be, by any means of a bitter parent. It shouldn't be said that, oh no, this child don't get to see their dad because they're not with the mother, or they're not financially supporting the mother, um, because I think some like astronomical numbers when it comes to child support, and we was talking about that before. That they award these women like these astronomical amounts of money, and then when you see Bria, no ma'am. Then you see fathers who get custody of their children, and then it's like they go through it where the amount of support they receive is different, or they're shunned upon because they went and asked for the support because it's looked at as they should be able to provide for that child. But there are circumstances that makes it where maybe they are not able financially able to assist the way they should. Because that goes back to I had a conversation a couple weeks ago with a few guys, and we were discussing the whole child support thing, and we talked about mhm, should the non-custodial parent, should the mother, if a mother has if a mother has the child, should the mother be allowed to receive assistance, receive all of the help that okay, so do it quietly. Should she be able to receive all this astronomical numbers and all of your type of assistance? Whereas when a father goes in there for help, again, he is looked at he is looked at like he should just automatically be able to do it. Shouldn't that be the same thing when it comes to a woman? Because if the mother is the mother, we all know that majority of well, I'm not going to say majority of states here in Florida, it was that the mother was, automatically given the custody of the child or the 100% rights of the child, and fathers are fighting. But laws have changed. And, last year we do it go into effect, and now there is a 50-50 custody. Once the paternity is set in place, y'all can go and look it up. So I say that that when I say that when it comes to certain things, that when it comes to the father's rights, when it comes to him being a part of the child's life, when it comes to the self love, the pouring into the child, when it comes to all of that, when it comes to all of that, we need to be more mindful of what we have. Bria, get up. Be more mindful of those environmental situations in our children. So we're going to talk a little bit about the father self love. So we need to pour into our fathers. I know I've heard. No, I want to go back. I did the story. So a few of the fathers that we talked about, they said the women just receive assistance. They're able to sit down and receive child support. They're able to go and get food stamp assistance. They're able to go and get all this stuff, and then when it comes down to the man, he is expected to automatically be able to provide these services. Whereas there's a lot of jobs, that are not paying enough for some of these men, where and then the amount of income that the woman would give to the father if the father had rights. I hear some women saying, oh no, I'm not gonna pay child support. But wouldn't that be the same thing? Why is it easier for a woman to say, I'm not going to pay child support, or he should be able to take care of his kids, so those are his kids? But it's the same thing when it comes to a woman. We are almost automatically given the opportunity to just go to the assistance, and we know that our children are going to be taken care of. So that's pretty much what it is. It's like a comforting pad that they got set in place that the kids are going to be taken care of. If it's by the state with the child support, and I was just speaking to somebody, and they were telling me that in the majority of the child support, the amount of money that they receive from the child support that the mother doesn't see. And I would think like that's a problem in itself, because if you're receiving child support and the majority of the money that they're charging these fathers, you don't see that amount of money. You don't feel like that's an issue where you probably could have maybe worked out the issue with that father, and the amount of money would be different? Because I know I done heard people say, oh, I'll go apply, I'm just gonna put them on child support because I know it's gonna be this amount of money. But then when it comes to a man saying, oh, I'm gonna put my baby mama on child support, people will automatically look at him and say, "Oh, he wrong. Why would he put her on child support? She a woman. She this, she that." But if that woman going to put him on child support, it would be accepted. So we're gonna get back to that story, but let's go ahead and discuss the father self love. So a father self love is a vital aspect of the overall well being and ability to be positive and an influence on our children's life. So what it's saying, I pretty much they told us. I was told some other day. I thought I was gonna remember for the story because it was like it was the saying about the happy life, happy wife. What was it? It's another one because I'm telling y'all, the fellas have been talking and discussing the topic this week. They real deal were excited that we was gonna talk about it, but they was talking. They really wanted to talk about how women don't know how to pour into them. I think that's pretty much what it felt all boiled down to was that when it come down to women, they ask that question, what do you bring to the table? What's up, Showat? Thank you for being here. When they ask that question, what do you bring to the table? And a lot of women, they say, I work, I do this, I can cook, I clean, I take care of the children. You got to do the 50-50 thing. But then if you look at it when they go to ask them, but what do you like literally bring? What do you give to this man other than asking him to pay bills or expecting him to pay bills or expecting him to be a provider? Like when it comes down to it, do you show him how to love himself? Like, do you pour that love into him? So it was like, first of all, when this man exhibits um, positivity being put into him, then he's able to be a positive role model to your children. You know, um, he can, children then they mimic our behaviors. We all know it. Children mimic our behaviors. You got your child, they walk around your small child. They'll might listen to what you see. You see the videos all the time that come around with the baby walking behind the person, mimicking how they walk, or even kids that grow up and they go into the same field that they parents, the parents, they grow up and be just like their parents because they mimic the behaviors that they've seen. So we do know that they do pay attention. So if you put into your child a positive what does it say? You would get more money from the father if you let him do. Hmm. Yeah. So it says you would get more money, and that is true. A lot of times you do have that when a woman has. It says you would get more money from the father if you let him do, and that's true because I have heard fathers say, you know, I'll do this, and I'll do this for my children. And I've been around fathers that will, and then you have a woman that come around and say, well, I'm just gonna put you on child support. Then once they go and put them on child support, they're asking for the father to do this other stuff because what child support gave them wasn't what they was already receiving. It was a lesser amount, but because they was going to the system, trying to play the system, they ended up, being in a position where now and then the father that leaves him in a bad situation because now he's giving up most of his income to provide for a child, and the outside stuff that you want him to do for the child he can't do no more because now he has all these stipulations for the courts, and he's trying to pay retro, and he's trying to pay the court fees that's been thrown into this child support payment, and now he's paying for the excuse me, so he's paying for all this other stuff, so now you can't get the same stuff that you was getting before. And then, so I did have somebody ask me the question
You taking this with you?
if that's if that
You
is
taking this with her?
if that is the situation where the mother is asking for child support, and if the mother is steady going on and on asking for child support,
Yes, sir.
asking for child support and all the different things that she has going on. If a mother keeps reaching out to the father, should custody of that child be granted? Well, not granted, but should the courts enforce that the mother allow the father to see the child in? Because if it's a situation where you already had this man on child support, if you already, you have this father that's trying to be a part of their lives, and then you have the ones that say, "Oh, well, you can't see your children." Because of how you treat me. Now, let's go ahead and say if you know of anybody that's in a domestic violence situation, we need them to get help. We need them to get themselves safely out of that situation. First and foremost, that's the one thing that we need them to remove themselves if they can safely to get out of those type of situations. Because if we have children that's involved in that, if that child isn't affected directly, physically, emotionally, that child is still affected. And then we have a father, then we have other fathers that spend time trying to pour into kids that mothers are not allowing. But we are gonna make sure we stay, with our fathers. So we're gonna make sure that we do, like, we're gonna pour into them so that they can be positive role models for our kids. Our children can have positive role models. Next we're gonna do the emotional support, and that's what we were talking about. They need the validation, so that helps them develop emotional support. So if you have a man that is emotionally supported, he can be emotionally supportive, which is means that he knows what's going on. He knows how to express his feelings. He knows how to communicate effectively. Those are the things that he's able to do effectively, and your child, that can trickle on, because the toxic situation, whether it's the mother or the father, whichever parent, and I'm not gonna just say all fathers, but when it comes down to the majority of people we're discussing fathers' rights, or the parent that wants to be in that child's life that is not able to be in that child's life. Um, so, like I said, the emotional support that brings validation. Showing this child like, I support you, I got you, helping this child make decisions, being able to effectively make his own decisions. Not when this child see his dad, it's not always about what he has. That he's able to know that there's an open space that they're able to sit down and talk, and the dad needs to know that he has that too. I'm not gonna say that maybe it has to be with the mother, but the children need to be able to see that the daddy is able to, or the father is able to effectively communicate with people. That he's able to express his emotions. And he's able to do them in a positive manner. I'm not going to say that, oh, he get upset and he supposed to just smile all the way through it, but he can, do a different response, and maybe somebody that's abusive, or somebody that breaks something or something. Sometimes breaking things is, that's a good outlet, long as it ain't somebody car windows, busting up the TVs. We don't want you doing none of that crazy stuff. Go to one of those little places where you can go and break some stuff up. Let that stuff out. Let your emotions out. Do something, but just know that you're being emotionally supportive, and then they can be an emotionally supported person. Thirdly is the healthy boundaries. Now, with everything going on in this era, 2024, I am going to say this. I salute the men that are standing up, that have put down their foot, that are letting people know that they have boundaries, that are telling people no. People that, don't mind saying no, that they set up, and they tell people, they set those healthy boundaries in place when it comes to mothers. If they are in a space where they may be trying to co-parent, that might be something going on, or even in a household, even a married couple, you have to have, healthy boundaries that has to be put in place. You have to have them. Um, is be able to prioritize one own needs, and set healthy boundary teaches the child that it is important in their own life. So it teaches your children that, it's okay to set boundaries. You don't have to be rude, you don't have to be mean, but you have to let people know, like, that's something I don't do, that's something I don't like. And they see that their parent or parents, and hopefully it'll be both parents, but if we're discussing the fathers today, if their father is able to, to be able to know that he's able to set boundaries and people respect them. And I'm gonna say this, I know for a fact that men are very disrespected. And I'm not saying, I didn't say disrespectful, I said disrespected. And the reason why I say men, a lot of men get disrespected, because I've seen the posts, I watched the shows, the podcast, and the minute a man posts something that he does not like, immediately he is attacked. Immediately everybody comes out the woodwork, everybody has something to say about him being emotional. And like I say, I make comments sometimes, and I might say, oh, they being sassy sometimes. And some men are sassy, let's say that. There are some men that are so sassy, there are some men that are just like over the top. There are. But when it comes to men, if you see a man speak up about something, there are a lot of childish women, childish people out here, very immature women, that immediately when a person sets boundaries, but I'm gonna take that back when I say childish, because an unhealed person responds that way. If a person is healed and they have boundaries for themselves and they set boundaries, because I noticed that when you tell somebody that's unhealed that, oh, immediately they have a lot of negative comments to come out. They have a lot of things to say. But if you go into that, and I was an unhealed version, and I said something to a person, and then I allowed you to cross those boundaries, you would be okay with that. And and it would be almost they'll accept it from a woman before they accept it from a man, and that's wrong because men should be able to set their boundaries. Men should be able to tell you their likes and dislikes, and a person should respect that. Number four was, it was resilient, and that was demonstrating the resilience in the face of challenges. So again, that's when y'all, some of y'all women go to attacking these men, the negative comments, the downing them, bashing them in front of their kids, all of the text messages, the phone calls. Yeah, those phone calls fit into that category. All the you ain't shit messages, I mean, just all of that stuff. A lot of that goes into it. Well, because some of those, some women, and because I'm a woman and I know how to trigger, and I have been triggered. So now, when I was younger, I wouldn't mind triggering some stuff because I was petty, and that was the way I did things. But growing up and going through situations, and then once you get to a space where you learn that setting boundaries, that's like a healthy thing that you got going on, and then your response. So being resilient in those situations where it used to be, oh, I'm ready to go to jail. Now, depending on the situation, I will still go. So don't get it twisted. I will. But do I sit back and think more about that? I absolutely do. So when it comes to a man, he have to learn how to be resilient when it comes to some things that his baby mama might say to him when he comes to the house. Some of the stuff. But does that mean that he should allow her to walk all over him? Absolutely not. We need to go back to number three with them healthy boundaries. So when we get down to resilience, and you can tell Auntie said it, yes, be resilient. You speak up when you're going through them challenges, face them challenges, choose more healthy, positive ways to try to respond. However, don't walk around here and be no fool. 'Cause Auntie didn't say that. Auntie never, Auntie didn't say that. But it does show, obstacles that. But your child does realize that obstacles exist and they can be overcome. So that's the message in there. So don't think about until somebody going to jail. Y'all think about that message in there. That it is that when a child sees that his father is resilient and that he can do that, he can problem solve, he can communicate, he can overcome those obstacles. The child is better, equipped with going into this and saying, like like in my words, my daddy did it, so I can do that too. And then next, and then next is our positive talk. So with the positive talk, what I'm saying, self love is I'm big on it. So I love myself. I'm big in the people around me. I love, I tell you I love you. I tell you how pretty you is. I tell you how handsome you is. I try to pour into you. There go Miss K. She here. That's right. Hey Miss K. So that I try to do the positive talk. When I get in certain situations, I'd be a little stressed out. Maybe I might get upset because my mouth is a mess. Now, don't get that wrong. I do have a mouth on me, but I am working on it. I'm trying. I really am trying. But the positive self talk, that's me. I will talk myself to death. I will talk to myself. I will pour into myself. I pour into my mate. I like to pour into my kids, like I like to pour my grandbaby. I do that. I love that. That's one thing I need to do. And by practicing positive self talk and self encouragement, and it's okay to encourage yourself. Like, what I'm saying? It's okay to go and say, I'm encouraging myself today. Um, like I said, by modeling a healthy self reflection and self-compassion, it helps the children develop positive inner dialogue. So by your child seeing that the positive self talk, that you tell yourself you love yourself, that you tell yourself that I can get through this, that you push yourself, keep trying, that you are resilient. Once you are resilient by and continuing to pour self love, that self love talking to yourself, by continuing to tell yourself, it's all right, I'm down right now, but I'm gonna get through this. It's okay. I'm gonna be all right because I do it to myself all the time. I was just having a conversation. I was telling them about the depression and function and the word functioning, because when you put that word in front of function, a lot of people say they take hold to the whatever it is, whatever like drugism or alcoholism or sexism, whatever they take hold to it. But when you put that functioning in front of it, it changes the meaning. It really does, and it's like because sometimes, like people with a crack habit, and I use, my daddy, he gone, but he had a drug habit, and I used to say, hear people say, he a functioning crackhead, a functioning drug, I heard people say that growing up, and I never understood what it meant until I got up into the world and I started seeing that mean that they can still get out there and still do the same thing. It doesn't affect what they
What
have
they got
going
going on.
on. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? They don't let people see that it affects what they have going on. So even in those situations where you had that child that was raised with a parent that had a drug addiction, or you had some, if that father was resilient, and I'm gonna tell you something now, if you out there on these drugs and you getting it for real, we get some trauma and stuff, but some of that fight that go into that child is, like, that's like some. So if you just turn that positive, what I'm saying, show that child that despite that I could be positive in this. I'm gonna be okay. I used to respond with anger, but now we gonna, talk to myself. Cause like me, I cry, and I know, like I said all the time, but I became very emotional in the last few years, and it came with humbling that I started crying and I started writing, and I started drawing and trying to be creative and doing stuff like that. So when it comes to our fathers, we want to make sure that they know that it's okay to, point to themselves, look in the mirror and say, you're great. It's okay. It's all right for you to go and do that with yourself. Go out with your homeboys. Go out by yourself. Go get your hair cut. You know what I'm saying? Get up in the morning. Tell myself that I'm gonna look good. Go about your business. You know what I'm saying? Even when you're dealing with that stress from that baby mama, when you dealing with the stress of you can't provide for your kids, because we are definitely gonna get on that. But it's a lot of men that take on abuse abuse from women because of their financial situation. And it's sad because the level of abuse and disrespect that some of these men have to go through when they are fathers to some of these kids, because every child does not have need to be with the mother, and every father that's not able to pay their child support or whatever is not a deadbeat dad. Let's go ahead and
Say
say,
it again. Say it one more time. I
okay,
hear people in the
like
background.
right, you know what I'm saying? Like for real. Just because that man is not in that life and doing what he is, doing what you feel he able to do. But if that man is trying to be an effective part of his child's life, that does not make that man no deadbeat. Y'all need to stop using that word. Y'all need to stop being mean to these men. Y'all need to stop going around here telling these fathers like some of the stuff that y'all say, because those children again go back to what we say, mimic those behaviors. They see that stuff going on. They see you tearing down their daddy. They see you tearing down him. And then you wonder why when they get older, they get mad at you. Your daughter don't want to talk to you. Your son pissed off at you when they find out the reason that you only are responding out of anger. So you tore this man down where you could have been pouring into this man. You could have had this man being a more solid person. And then maybe, yeah, he probably could have went and got a better job. He probably would have went and got further his education if he wasn't being tore down every time he turned around when it comes to what he can and can't do for his kids. So we, you know what I'm saying, we need to make sure that when it comes to our men, and whether he your baby daddy or not, you can still say something positive to a man when you see him. Because I speak to a lot of men, because I'm gonna tell you something. It's a lot of y'all I know for a fact be lying about the situations that y'all be in with some of these men. Because if you literally go out in the streets, I know here in Tampa, if you go out in these streets, it's a whole lot of men walking around with their children. It's a
A
lot of
lot.
men. they have their kids. I seen a man one day that was on his way to the food stamp officer because he was trying to get custody of his child because his baby mama had done dropped the baby off and was just like that's it, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I see it a lot. I see a lot of men I see a lot of men that go out and they have kids, they trying to take care of these kids, they want to pick up the kids, and then these some of these baby mamas want to use them as a calendar so they can keep tabs on some of these men.
Yes.
And again, now you want to tend to this man because he don't want to do this and do that because why? I wouldn't want to do it either if you thought you was my warden. If I don't have nothing positive that's coming out of you none of the time, if it's every time I turn around and come pick up my children, I'm not gonna be funny. If every time I go to pick up my kids, if every single time I call you or you call my phone, I got to hear you bickering. If every time, it's always some BS, baby, I'm not gonna want to be bothered. I
Pretty
mean,
much.
let's keep it 100. You can have all that, baby girl. Like you and your baby
Or
old boy, y'all.
or
I
every
wish y'all the
time
best.
or every time you call in, you want to put, like you said, stipulation. They can't be around, or they can't have, or you can get my child for a certain amount of time, or for a day, or for 8 hours, or whatever. Like, you can't tell somebody else if you're trying to keep, but you're trying to tell them how to parent. It doesn't work both ways.
Right, right, right. And and again, like I know, like it's still it be hard, but like I said, if it's an abusive relationship where you know that this other parent is going to cause harm or may cause harm to your child, then I'm not talking to you. By no means am I talking to any parent that I'm telling to put their child or themselves in any situation of the sort that is, what I'm saying, that's negative. That's not, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about the mothers that are willingly keeping their children from their fathers. We're speaking to the fathers that are out here fighting for their rights. And yes, fathers, if you are listening. Oh, and I did want to say that when this last couple minutes. Um, if you are a father and you are listening and you would like the link to come on the show to discuss this with us, contact DC9. I will get you on here so we can hear your side, your views. But seriously, when it comes, like I said, pouring into a man, showing him self love, building him up, it helps the children because it shows them, what I'm saying, it shows them it shows them how to develop inner dialogue. You know what I'm saying? Being able to keep it 100 with yourself. Because I was just telling the person, no matter how much you lie to the world and lie to other people, you can never lie to yourself. You can't. You can sit there
You can't
all
play
day
victim
long.
too long.
Yeah, and you can't play victim to yourself. I mean, you can cause yourself to destroy itself, but you can't. It has at the end of the day, it has to come where that's just like key. It can't be no other way. But so I am going to do some response right quick. So I have a father that says, I'm a father going through a custody battle. How can I prioritize my own well being during this stressful time? So for him, we and they all want to be anonymous, which I completely understand.
Does he have a support system that helps
That's
him as
actually
far
on
as
the
taking care of his kids?
that's what I don't know, and that was actually one of the answers that I had wrote down to for his response was that he prioritizing his self care is crucial during this time, especially that he need to make sure that he is pouring into himself, that he is staying in a healthy space, that he is setting healthy boundaries. You know what I'm saying? That he is staying resilient. We want to make sure that he continues to do all those things, and we do want him to reach out and get a support system. We don't want if there's a local organization that's around him, if he has some brothers or friends, somebody that he knows, we want him to build him a support system. If he need to reach out to Auntie, he can go ahead and reach out. We'll start here. I mean, he's already came and wrote in, but when I say the support system, like I said, take a village to raise a child. Hey, we here. But yeah, we do want to make sure that he does get a support system. Like that's the most important thing mindfulness, practicing mindfulness, and considering seeking support from a therapist or a support group.
Does
So
he,
that
and
would
also he, yeah, I was gonna say also he can find fathers that are similar, in custody battles, parental rights,
right.
or whatever kind of group that will help him as far as what they went through, certain stressful things they went through, and what did help them get through it and keep, a positive mindset despite the negativity that they're going through.
Right, absolutely. And that, that's key. That's pretty much that's key. You have to always make sure that it's a space, and we need to have more spaces for fathers.
Yes,
We need to have more outlets for fathers. We need to have something going on. We need to have more outreaches. And I know we do have programs, but when I say for fathers, I'm talking about for the father that's fighting for his rights.
yes.
For the
We need
father
to
that
have
real
something that's going to actually show them the steps, because I don't, people are aware as far as what mothers have, and I think mothers take their rights and responsibilities for granted because it's more resources for moms with kids than there is fathers that try to get a foot of rights or with kids. So I
right.
guess showing them, the steps that they need to as far as what their parental rights consist of, where it starts from, what they can do to involve, who they can get to help them through those steps would be
I'm
a
glad that
major goal.
I'm glad you said that, Bookie, because guess what? Auntie put together a little list. It's not a complete full list, of course it's not, but it is a list, and I will be posting it on my page. That you can go and see, download it. But I am going to post a list of resources where there are fathers can reach out. So if you're out and you're listening and you have resources that are available, you can contact me and we'll get them put on the list for our fathers that are listening, that are advocating for their rights. But I did put together some organizations. I am going to tell y'all a couple of them. Um, let me see. There is the Fathers National Fathers Rights Association. We have the National Fathers Rights Association, the American Coalition for Fathers and Children for Support and Guidance. And you can also, again, consider like a therapist because they may have another listing for you. You can reach out. I know I am in a group, I think it's called I Am Dad on Facebook, which I have got a lot of information from on that page. It does have like a lot of fathers' rights stuff. So that's something that you will be able to reach out for. Again, if you need any more help, like I said, I am going to put a list on my page. And again, have a local um, if you have a local organization that you may know of, then you can get it over to me and we will get that on the list because I am putting together a resource list for the father's rights along with things that what is it? Along with the things that they need to go in and start the process to fight for their rights. So I am not a lawyer, but we will have legal people that have some advice, some people that work in those fields. I'm trying to get some of those people together so that they can come in and do an event. We want to put together a father's right workshop so it tells them, what all is needed, what are the requirements. We do want to make sure that in the state of Florida, if you are a father, that you do go and read the law that was put in place for the new Dad Act, because that is a 50-50 law. And while I was researching and doing all this, I did see that when they put that into effect last year, that once the father's rights has been established, that's like basically that father is entitled to full paternity rights. So a lot of fathers who know they the father is done been determined they the father prior to 2023. Y'all need to go make sure y'all revisit that law and y'all check into it and y'all know what y'all have going on. If you need to get legal assistance, you need to go ahead and reach out to somebody. You need to go ahead and do that because again, all children do not need to be with the mother because she gave birth to them. Absolutely not. We just not gonna say that. We're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Um, but I do want my father to remember taking care of yourself doesn't mean that you are distracted from your role as a parent. In fact, It does. It actually means that you are becoming a better parent. So I want my father to remember that. So when you tell that you need time for yourself, you need me time. You stressed out because of the situation that you're going through, what she putting you through, what the court system putting you through. Taking time for yourself does not mean that you failed as a parent. Let's just go to say that that does work on both sides. But again, we are speaking to the fathers. I want y'all to know that, you know what I'm saying? We love y'all. We need y'all to be healthy. We need y'all to get out there. Because there's a lot of us out there that's tired of having to be that, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and handle that. But so then I had another question was, how can I communicate effectively with my child's mother when we have different styles of parenting? Miss K, you want to answer
Are
that?
they, are they trying to agree on certain things as far as discipline?
He didn't go into detail. He just said that they parenting styles are different. So
Okay,
I just
so I
gave like
mean,
my
if
response is
you're
like in general.
if you're co-parenting, everybody's household is going to be different. Some people love to go to their dad's house because their children fit. Some people love to go to their mom's house. Everybody's parenting skills are always different. Whatever goes on in your household and how you parent, I feel like should be in your household.
Right.
It teaches the child certain things, but if y'all bumping heads as far as parenting styles, how you parent is how you parent, how the other parent is how they parent. I don't know how to get that on a mutual level.
Okay, so
Because
my response
it
was
sounds like one of us is going to always have something negative to say.
right. And so me, I said effective communication is key. Focus on the child's needs and then avoid blaming or criticizing and try to understand the other's perspective. Also try to use more I statements instead of using the you statement, which can kind of come across as like you blaming one parent, you know, the accusations and stuff. So kind of try to stay away from that. Kind of try to stay, you know, with yourself, just focusing on what you did, what you can change. Um, it's also it says, and remember that it's okay to disagree.
Yeah.
Most, you know, it's okay to be disagreed, but I do understand, you know, but if you have, if, like Miss K said, if it's coming to like the behaviors, if we discussing like what the behaviors going on, if you have different styles of, you know, how y'all handle punishment, then that's going to be an issue because if you have one person that believe in discipline and one that don't, then that of course the child going to rebel and want to be with that parent, or they're going to act, and then sometimes they don't want to be with their parent because they are too lenient on them. That's that other counter side that people don't talk about. They talk about the child that get the favoritism, and then how they respond, but then they don't talk about that one that get that favoritism from that particular parent, and they have the rejection and the anger and the aggression, and so they
Hmm.
respond absolutely completely opposite of what it is. So we want to try to make sure that we don't blame people. We don't get them in the habit of seeing others being blamed for stuff, that we take responsibility and accountability for ourselves. So if we go ahead and do that when you're communicating with the mother of your kids, just like I say, take responsibility for what you have going on, what you can control, what you can't control, that's on her. You know what I'm saying? You can't nobody get mad at you for how your response is. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can. Nobody, they can't. Especially if you're doing it for the betterment of you, and which
Yeah.
in terms of the betterment for you and your kids. So also, and like I said, it's how you navigate those disagree, and that's the how you navigate those disagreements is really what matters. Like, so when y'all arguing, you being able to walk away, separate yourself from it, you being able to go and, you know, make a clear-minded decision, whereas you might have responded completely differently, broke something or did something differently. When that child see those different responses, it can kind of mold how they respond to situations. You know,
Yeah, also it makes them compare each other's side too.
right, right. That's absolutely, let them build up, let them build. their decision for themselves. Don't let it be based off of one parent. Because like I watched a video a couple months back, and it was of a father. I had posted it. The dad was calling the daughter, and the little girl was just rude and disrespectful,
I
and
seen
she
that.
right, and she hung up on him.
I seen that. He was so calm.
Right. And it was like a lot of the stuff that and when you heard this man talking, and I've heard it many times before, and it's the child responding from what they heard the other parent say. It wasn't so much as I built this hatred up or I built this anger up because of this. I built this anger up based on how my mama feel about my daddy.
Yeah.
So now you have children out here, what I'm saying, that's being raised with some old crazy mess going on, and they responded, but they don't even know how to respond correctly or effectively because they've never been taught that. All they've seen is heard what you said, and either that parent is not there, the opposite parent, he don't come around now, or when he do, it's toxic.
Yeah.
Like those are the outcomes. You know what I'm saying? It's either he don't come around or when he do, they fight.
Yeah.
And
But
you want
he,
to try
the
to.
video you posted, it looked like he might have been in, with the mother. It might have been at one point a toxic relationship. But the way he handled how she was talking, because the little girl was talking outside of her age group. So
Exactly.
it was like he was just, when I say humble and mild, I mean like I understand what you're saying, but you gotta understand I still love you. You're still my daughter. Like he just constantly gave her positive reinforcement. Like I understand this is how you feel, but listen to what I'm saying. And it was just so calm and mellow. Like he just really
Right.
wasn't himself. So it was
Right.
like when I seen that video, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got upset because I was like, "Look, girl, why you talking to your daddy like that?"
No, and what pissed me off was that the mama was in the background. Yeah, if you would have listened in on that call, the mother was in the background of that phone call. So that's what made it, and I knew then it was like, and he not lying, like so and I've been around, like I literally sat around. I told a couple of guys that I was gonna talk about it on the show. Like I sit around and I hear some of their conversations when they talking to their baby mamas and stuff, and I'm calling y'all the baby mamas, not baby mothers, because y'all act like baby mamas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's gonna call it what it is, and y'all know I say it to y'all faces, y'all baby mamas, because and y'all is toxic as hell. I have been around a lot of situations where the toxic person is not the father. You know what I'm saying? I've been in situations where the father is and does provide more than 50% of it, but because of the system, it doesn't appear that that's what's happening. And because of the stories that they tell, that does not appear that that's what's happening. So you have the father that's sitting here that is providing and doing all the stuff, and then he has toxic baby mamas that play on the phone, send the hurtful text messages, get on social media, and I'll sit there and watch it and it's all a lie. But you done tarnish this man name, and the minute that he get on there and respond, he can't see his kids. The minute he say something back to you, the moment he call his mama or his sister to go and get his baby. Now you want to fight, you want to argue. Now is you need all this excess stuff for this baby that I'm still trying to figure out what y'all be spending y'all money on. But then y'all have these men that come around and offer you 10, 15, $20 here and it could be just the 10, 15, $20 that they have. And I'm gonna jump on it before I get off of here. I want to end it with a post when I thought about that right there about that $10, $15. But y'all get up there and y'all bash these men. Y'all tell about women how they not no good, how they this and they that, and then you wonder why your children walking around here responding the same exact way. Why your children can't get along? Why they can't go be in a relationship? Because they don't know how to communicate. You ain't never showed them how to. Their daddy don't know how to show them how to. I seen the case with the man who, the young guy who went and killed a bunch of people. Like his mama was responding and she didn't know why her son was acting like that.
The one
And
just
come to find out, she was sending him to his daddy for punishment. And while she was sending her son to the daddy for punishment, the father was taking the son out to commit crimes.
so the pun she w- okay. So the punishment was supposed to be like you're going to your daddy's house as far as like get yourself
Mm-hmm.
together type stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
she's thinking that the father is actually disciplining him and putting some kind of self fear in him, but the whole time the father is teaching him how to be a criminal.
Right. But my thing, and I'm not gonna put all the blame on her, but I put a large percentage of blame on her. Because again, if you and this man can't communicate effectively, if every time it's a toxic situation that it deals when it comes to y'all two or his response, why would you think that he would be responsible when it came to your son? Because like at the beginning of the show, I focus on positive. We're discussing the positive aspects for a father's right. Don't and when it comes to mothers, y'all have to make it make sense when it comes to certain fathers. Y'all have to do that. Well, I'm not just telling you to go, this father, just let that child go be with the father. You have to make that make sense. But then I have fathers that you have, like the ones that I know, they get their kids, they go out there and they go spend time. They try to do all this stuff with them, and they're bashed on the internet because the guy that ended up, that was showing her son all this negative stuff was a man that she chose. This man, the streets. This is what my baby daddy. That's the lifestyle that she wanted, and she found out, otherwise that's not what it was. And so we have women that are, and when I say that is that you have other women that have men that are trying to be fathers in these kids' life that are positive role models that do have all this stuff going on, and them not the ones we want to get their kids. We want to take them to court. The daddy that want to go out there and provide for them and buy shoes and clothes, you want to tell them what stores to stop in,
Yeah, and drain him of everything in his pocket.
right? You want to tell him he can't go buy his baby no Walmart shoes. You want to tell him, and it's crazy because I know a lot of children that prefer to get Walmart shoes over Nike. They prefer Batman over some what it is, some Jordans. They want the shoes that light up
Yes.
over a $200 pair of shoes. Like it's just it's crazy. Like it's crazy, but we got to do more when it comes to our fathers. Like we have to stop. We got to call them out when they wrong. We have to let them know when they wrong, and all the like baby mothers aren't wrong, but like I said, we have to call them out when they're wrong. If you wrong and you have a father that's out here real deal trying to be in his children's life, if you have a father that is trying to show up and be there and do, what I'm saying, if you have that, then that's you need to learn from that. You need to like you said, not drain that man if he's trying to be effective and be active in his children's life. You can't do that.
I don't know if they're thinking that parenting is easier. Oh, I can do this. That my mama did it. My daddy, my grandma did it. It ain't nothing. Parenting in this world, it takes a lot, and it takes for you to actually have the maturity to work together as parents to raise that child effectively in the way this world is.
Right. All right. So I'm gonna jump at the last question because I see we almost down to our last 5 minutes. It said, "What resources are available for fathers who feel overwhelmed for struggling with their mental health?" So it's a lot of resources that are available. Again, you need to find something that's local. I do know they do have a lot of companies that are doing a teledoc. They have a lot of mental health services that you can do the appointments from home, remote. But you want to reach out to a support group, like Miss K said, a support system, family members, people that are positive. Because again, not just the father or the mother. You may need to make sure you have positive role models around your children so they can mimic positive behaviors. But reach out to the National Fathers Rights Association, um, the American Coalition for Fathers and Children for support and guidance. So those are two that you can reach out to that have support services. But again, you want to make sure you reach out to local. Also consider seeking professional help from a therapist or a counselor. Taking care of your mental health is a sign of strength, not a weakness. So we want to make sure to all our fathers that you know that going to get in mental health, dealing with some issues, dealing with them, it is okay. You can reach out. And then Tampa, this quickly at the end. So I guess it's the C.W. Bill Young Reservoir in Tampa. Yeah, we need to make sure that we are staying aware of what's going on around us. Apparently, it's drying up from a resource. It's at 16% capacity, which is not good. They've extended the water restrictions up until September until they can get that situation under control. So if you're in the Tampa Bay area, you need to make sure that you're keeping up to date with the water restrictions and what's going on. I know we are getting rain today, a lot of rain. I don't know if y'all received it yet, Miss K, but we done got us a whole lot of rain over here.
Baby, we got, it looked like the floodgates opened over here
Oh, okay, yeah,
at
y'all got
Jackson just
to.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but it's been raining a lot.
right. But hmm. I just want to make sure, you know what I'm saying, our fathers, if you're a father out there, and if you are trying, you know what I'm saying, to get your rights, if you are looking into stuff, into any of that, you can go ahead and make sure you check on to the Making Make Sense with Auntie page. I'm going to post some resources. I'm going to post some information on there. And before we leave, Miss K, what you got going on?
Yeah, I've been relaxing. I know I've been saying this for a while, but it seems like the life been hitting me left and right this straight. But it's nothing that, I can't handle. Just learn to handle it one day at a time, and I take it as much as I can.
That's right, girl. Hey, it's summertime. Let summer.
It is. I done learned not to overstress myself. I count if my shoulders get too heavy, I knock it off and worry about it another day.
That's all you can do, boo. That is all you can do. Well, everything that we have going on, still going on. I'm trying to get help. I reached out to a group in YouTube that's trying to help me with the videos and make it a more smoother show so I can take out the feedback and stuff that we've been that's been going across. So I'm trying to probably gonna have to pull the videos off and clean them up and then just repost them. But that's what we working on. I got a big event for next month, so we working on that. I'll be in Vegas the first weekend of August. I'm excited about that. So y'all might get a show from Vegas. Yeah, because I might if I leave out that Thursday, then y'all will get a show from Vegas. If not, then y'all will get it here while we packing to go to Vegas. So, but yeah, I want to make sure y'all tune
Girl,
right. Make sure y'all tune in next Thursday. Make it make sense with Auntie at 5 p.m. I am Auntie. Shout out to Smooth Transitions. Once again, if you need any of your cartoons, any graphic designs, you go ahead and reach out and hit us up. If you would like to make any donations to the show, money sign AUNTI 79. I am Auntie and Miss K.
yes, yes, yes.